right, so we're the Women's Resource Center. We're both the professional staff here. Oh, sorry, let me go back one. So my name's Danny. I use she and her pronouns. I serve as the program coordinator. My email is up here on the screen. I'm pointing to my screen even though you can't see it. It's up on the screen. You can also, you'll see our website at the end here, and you can also find our contact information there. Many of you also have received an email from me probably, so you can also get my email from there too. And Melanie?
Yes, sorry, I'm over here chatting in the chat because I'm so excited about all the things people are saying. So hi, my name is Melanie De Mayor. I use the pronouns she and her. I serve as an assistant dean of students and director of the Women's Center, and you can see my email right there.
And what you see is a super cute photo of us from our Women's Leadership Conference, which we'll talk about in a second. So we have a physical location on campus. We know that you can't visit us right now, but we wanted to at least show you for the spring because we would love to see you then. We have a conference room, which is a little bit more of a like formal presentation kind of businessy space, which is bookable. We also have a mural room, which is great. There's a giant like L-shaped couch, typically used for napping because that room can become very dark in the back, but also for meeting like pretty casually with, I don't know, your friends to study, whatever you'd like. We also have like a larger lobby welcoming space too. And if you want to come and find us eventually, we are located in the Smith Gall or Flag building on the first floor in Suite 131.
So to tell you a little bit about our student resources, so we do about 30 to 40 programs a year that are focused on leadership, gender equity, and professional development. So anything from salary negotiation to not apologizing too often, or thinking about different issues of gender equity and topics that might impact women's lives. At the center of everything we do is community building and support. So we want to make sure that women have community on our campus, that you're building community together, and that you feel supported while you're here. And then we can also offer confidential guidance and referrals. So what that means is if you have an issue that you're facing and you're trying to navigate it and think through it, and you just need a place to talk through it with an unbiased opinion and somebody who's going to talk it out with you, you can come and chat with us, and we don't share that anywhere. It also means that we serve as one of the 3 confidential locations outside of the counseling center or any of our medical providers on campus to report sexual violence. So if you or someone you know experiences it, and we hope that you don't, but if you do, we want you to know that you're not alone and you have resources on campus to support you. So you can come to us, and that doesn't leave our office either. So just so you know that those resources are there. Danny and I also provide a lot of advisement and a lot of mentorship, and we just really, really love getting to know our students one-on-one, and hope you'll take advantage of that while you're here.
So there are quite a few programs that you can get involved in. We could make this entire presentation about the programs themselves, but we want to highlight 2 specifically for you since this time together is focused on leadership. We're going to give you 2 detailed kind of orientations to how to get your leadership journey started through the Women's Center. So the first is going to be Ryze. Ryze stands for Reimagine, Inspire, Serve, and Empower. And this is a brand new first-year leadership organization sponsored through the Women's Resource Center. So it is, so the flows are all about supporting first-year students, helping them build community, and also to develop their leadership skills. We're unique in that we are centered on advancing gender equity and social justice at Tech, all through utilizing a feminist leadership lens. So there's all different types of practices for leadership. We're going to be using specifically feminist leadership principles. So Ryze is going to be made up of about 15 to 20 first-year student members, led and advised and mentored and supported by 4 student advisors. And one of our student advisors is on the panel. So as we've been developing Ryze, she can definitely answer your questions, or I can answer your questions. And members, once they join, will be there for an entire year, and they'll be participating in educational opportunities, community building, creating and participating in programs, as well as community service. I also want to tell you that applications for all flows and Ryze are available right now. That little bit.ly link on the screen is for the applications. I'll also paste it in the chat for you too. Those are due August 23rd. There are, I think, 7 first-year leadership organizations. So there's one common app for all of them. And then the flows that you choose to apply specifically to will have 2 additional questions. After you submit the application, there will be a round of individual and group interviews, and then the selection process after that. And I believe, just for your information, the retreats will start in September, either the weekend of the 12th and 13th or 19th and 20th. Just to put it on your calendar, don't do anything, you're going to a retreat. And let me know if you have any questions about that.
So the other opportunity we want to talk with you about is another registered student organization that is closely aligned with our office, and that's our Women's Leadership Conference. Specifically, in terms of the student org part, you can join the planning board to help plan this conference. The conference is was founded in 97, and is one of the longest running conferences at Georgia Tech. But the women who are a part of this planning committee help to raise all of the money. They pick all of the workshop speakers. They identify the keynotes, and they really just make the whole conference come together. And it brings together about 250 high school, college, and professional women to talk about women's leadership. And it's really an amazing opportunity, either if you're looking for some leadership and some planning and fundraising and logistics experience, or if you just want to come to a one-day conference and be around other women and learn about a lot of different things. It's a great opportunity to be a part of that as well. This year it will likely be remote, just because we're not sure what spring will look like, but if there's an opportunity for it to be in person, we'll pivot to that. Certainly be on the lookout for the application that is going to come out in the next couple of weeks. And they're really looking to engage first-year women. So if you're looking for an early and long-term leadership opportunity, this would be a great opportunity for you there. They're also looking at leadership through a feminist lens, really valuing intersectionality, and really want to think about the narratives that different women bring to the table and the experiences that different women bring to the table as they join us at Georgia Tech. So we'd love to have you participate in that as well.
So we did have 2 questions about flows that I want to address because they're quick. One of them was, can we apply to more than one flow? Absolutely, you can apply to all of the flows if you want. If you are going to apply to that many, make sure you start on your application early, because I believe all the questions are short answer. However, you can only be selected for one flow. So you can apply to as many as you want, but you will only be accepted to one. And then we had a question about how a retreat would work if we aren't on campus. So all of the flows are currently will be operating virtually, so it will be a virtual retreat. They're going to all kind of work differently, but I know our team is working really hard to be particularly creative about how we are going to develop deep bonds, engage in our traditions, learn about traditions. We're making traditions this year. It's our first year. So create traditions, and also learn about your place in Ryze, your purpose, and your passions. Yeah. So that was just a quick one. Okay, and we also really want you to connect with us. Please, please, please. I'm also going to paste these in the chat as well. Many of you RSVP'd through our Engage site, so you're already connected there. Feel free to follow us on Instagram at GTWRC. This is where we post a lot of our event flyers quickly, so it's an easy way to kind of see what we've done in the past as well if you're interested in finding out more. Our Facebook kind of operates in the same way. You're going to see the same information on both platforms. And then our website is womenscenter.gatech.edu. So we are going to move into the panel section. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen. And then could our panelists unmute their videos for me? That would be awesome. And I'm also going to paste a couple things in the chat before we move on. Y'all are amazing. Thank you for doing that so quickly. So here is just the information for Ryze, WLC, and the Women's Resource Center going in the chat. Okay, I'm going to make it so I can see all of you at once. Excellent. And I'm going to move the questions to my screen. Okay. Fantastic. Okay, so we are going to start with introduction. So for this first question, y'all, I'm gonna just like call on each of you, and then for the rest of the questions, just jump in whenever you feel like it. There's gonna be awkwardness. We're gonna talk over each other at some point, but that's okay. We'll figure it out. It's blue jeans, so there's only so much we can do. Okay, so this first question is, we'd love for you to introduce yourself with your name and pronouns, and tell us about your current formal or informal. So if you're doing something that isn't an engage, it's still a leadership position. So tell us about your formal and or informal leadership position. So I'm just going to go on my screen. Let's start with Michaela.
Oh, wow. Hello. So my name is Michaela Sinclair. I use pronouns she, her, hers. And I currently serve as Vice President of Student Life within Student Government at Georgia Tech. I'm the Undergraduate Cabinet, obviously. And also I'll serve as Art Matters President. If you're interested in that, all my art folk in here, let me know. We're pretty much the hub for art organizations, just collaborating on that. I won't spend too much time there. And technically still president of Revive, which is a minority mental health organization.
Awesome, thank you. Next on my screen is Celia.
Hi everyone, my name is Celia Kornegay and I use she, her pronouns. And I'm a student advisor. I'm the Administration and Fund Student Advisor for Ryze. So I've been working closely with Danny on getting this organization started, and it's been really, really exciting. And then I'm also the Vice President of Membership for Society of Women Engineers, or SWE. And I'm also in the Georgia Tech Marching Band, so for any musical people out there, I can answer some questions about that.
Yes, Marching Band, thank you. Next I have Hannah.
Hi everyone, I'm Hannah Lynn. I use she, her pronouns. I am the president of the Georgia Tech Society of Women Engineers, so I've been working with Celia this summer to continue building up our org and making sure that all our members get a lot of great opportunities. SWE mainly focuses on advocating for gender equity in STEM fields, but we're open to all majors. So if you're interested, definitely follow us on social media.
Fabulous. Next I have Brielle.
Hey everyone, I'm Brielle Wansberry, she, her pronouns. I get to work closely with Michaela because I have the honor of serving as the undergraduate student body president. You've probably received a few emails from us at this point, so you might have a little bit of a clue what we do. I'm still trying to figure out what we're doing because there's so much going on. Right now we're focusing a lot on making sure that campus is safe and ready for you guys. I could talk for hours about our initiatives, but pretty much student government can focus on everything and anything at Georgia Tech. But super excited to be here and excited you guys are here too.
Thank you so much. I believe SGA also has a first year leadership organization, so feel free to get, when you're applying for Ryze, which you will, also apply for SGA's first year leadership org.
Yes, it's Fresh GA with like
Fresh
the
GA.
SGA and Fresh. So, and you don't have to have any prior experience. I joined SGA thinking SGA was stupid, and here I am. So I would highly encourage you. It's a really good first year organization.
Oh, how the times they do change. Thanks, Brielle. And then finally, I have Rebecca.
Hey y'all, my name is Rebecca Hammond. I use she, her pronouns. Let's see, leadership wise, I'm currently serving as Vice President of Recruitment for Student Ambassadors, which is like the real like professional representatives of the Institute. And with the Art Peeps, I co-founded and am communication director for an organization called HERD, which is for writers, poets, lyricists. If you like putting pen to paper or performing, it's for you.
This is totally me just wondering, are y'all going to be doing some virtual performances?
Yes, we have things in the works like sip and writes and all these fun things.
Love it. Okay. Accidentally muted myself. Okay, so for the rest of these questions, y'all just feel free to jump in. Melanie, do you want to take the next one?
Yeah, I sure will. And y'all feel free, those of you who are here participating, to drop your questions in the chat. We'll take time for questions from participants towards the end, so our panelists can answer. I can see some that are already popping up, so we're really excited that you're putting them there. So thinking back to your first year at Georgia Tech, how did you decide what organizations or co-curricular opportunities you wanted to get involved with? And did you have any particular goals or motivations or passions that helped guide those decisions? Anyone want to jump out at that one first? Hannah, we'll start with you. How about that?
Sure. I think it's kind of a funny story because as a freshman, I still am a pretty shy person, not super outgoing, not like a lot of you I see who are like raring to go and join all these clubs and see what it's like. So for me, I joined SWE as a freshman because there's free food. And of course, like right now, things are virtual, so we don't have dinners, but usually we have free dinners every week at our general body meeting. And that's how I got hooked in at first. But I guess I didn't really know what my passions were. I just knew as an engineering student, a female engineering student, I wanted to contribute to empowering women in STEM. And so we have so many diverse opportunities with professional development, technical development, outreach. We do a lot of outreach events with K through 12 students to inspire the next generation. So like I realized once I got in, besides the free food, there's a lot more in store. And once I started getting involved as a chair and then exec member, I realized that I did have a passion here. So sometimes even if you don't know your passion, you can definitely find it if you dig in.
Thanks. I think food will take you to a lot of things on campus. Anybody else want to weigh in on that?
I'll hop in quickly. I don't know if this will be super inspirational, but maybe it'll make some of you feel a little bit more comfortable diving into college. But obviously, I'm very involved now, but looking back on my first year at Tech, I honestly wasn't super involved around campus. Honestly, I was clueless about what was happening and going on. And I'm from out of state, knew literally 0 people at Georgia Tech when I came, and I decided to sign up for Greek Rush because I'm like, I need friends, and if I rush and get into a house, they're forced to be my friends. So that sounds like an amazing deal. And that's been a really great way to be surrounded by other strong women for me. I'm not pushing Greek life on anyone. I know it's only 25% of campus and there's 75% of the rest of campus. And there's also amazing ways, like these things that you can be surrounded by great women. That's what I chose. And honestly, my sorority was the reason why I've joined pretty much everything else on campus. And an older girl in my sorority, I'd missed all of the applications for everything else on campus. All the flows were closed because I was just trying to figure out how to do laundry and where the store was and how to get food. And so I'd missed the applications, and they said, well, the student government applications are still open. Maybe you should apply. Looked through the committees, found one that I thought was really interesting. Honestly, I thought it would look good on my resume, and joined the organization, and obviously loved it because I'm still around. But I just want to maybe take the pressure off that you have to get super involved right away, know exactly what you want to do. We have over 500 organizations, and so there's absolutely no way that you would be able to know what organizations are right for you and what you're passionate about. I think for me, I just started signing up for things that I thought were cool, and I still do that now. And so I would say what you get involved in your first semester at Tech is not defining the rest of your time at Tech. But that was a little bit about me, and hopefully it takes the ease and pressure off of you can always create and get what you want out of Georgia Tech no matter how long you've been there.
Yeah. So, it sounds like both for Brielle and Hannah, the two of you kind of happened into your initial involvements early on, and for some of them they really stuck, and for others maybe you've kind of dropped them or hung with them for a season, and they were meaningful for that season, but maybe they're not serving you any longer. And so I think that's a really good tip that, you don't have to stay if it's not a good fit for you, and to just kind of be open and choose what speaks to you in the moment. Because there are so many choices, so many different opportunities on campus. Absolutely.
Am I allowed to weigh in?
Yeah.
delicious. I have to ask, it's your show. Coming into tech, I resonate with Brielle. I'm also out of state from Little Rock, Arkansas. Woo, pig suey. That's the only time I'll say that. Um, so I didn't know anyone, and so the high school I came from was performing arts. It was like mimes. There were drama, yes, but also like theater and musicals happening all the time. It's something that my high school really cherished. Like we look forward to like performances all the time. So when I came to tech, I was like, I need the arts and I need it now. And so that's the first place I was looking, was like my art community and who else is a weirdo. And I remember going to Facet, and it was, unfortunately, like, again, we're not in person, so sorry. But spring. But anyway, Facet, I was looking around. I signed up for Rec Radio, which is the radio station at Georgia Tech, which is awesome. I would promote them any day. And I signed up for Art Matters, signed up for like a numerous different random organizations regarding the arts. And then I was like, let's get weirder. And I signed up for Unicycle Club. I think there was like a cereal club at the time, and like just random stuff, like skydiving club. Never went skydiving, by the way. I just like to hear people's stories, and build up the confidence one day. But that was my path. So I started at like my passions of art. And then engineering, I was like, oh, I guess I should do like an engineering org as well. So I joined the American Society of Mechanical Engineers as a general member. But Art Matter stuck with me, and I mean, now I'm president of it. Student government is something new to me this year. But in high school, I was very involved in student government. So I intentionally paused student government when I first came to college, because I was like, I need a break and I need to explore other things that I may be into, which I encourage everyone to do, because everyone has their various identities, you know, different groups. And so just tapping into that a little more has really, really broadened my view. Am I a part of a lot of those orgs anymore? No. But I still talk to those people, and I too still sign up for organizations. I think I signed up for 5 today. So just put yourself out there.
I think that's also a really valid trajectory, Michaela. And I think you raise a really good point in talking about finding kind of the community that you know you're passionate about and that works for you. So for you, that was art. But letting go of maybe things that have defined you previously, or that have been really core, that maybe feel like they're not really what you want to do right now, to give yourself the space to sign up for 5 different organizations and see if, hey, you're really good at unicycling, right? Maybe you're not, but maybe it's a secret talent. And so I think that's a really good tip too, that the student orgs, even in your last years at Tech, will still be there, and you can join them at any given point. Absolutely.
Can I add something as well?
Yeah, absolutely. Y'all
Okay,
feel free to jump in.
Okay, I just want to make sure I wasn't going to talk over anyone. But so I actually, whenever I first joined the marching band, as a first year, I was in the color guard section just because that was kind of what I had done in high school. And then I made some friends outside of my section in the piccolo section, and I had never touched a piccolo before. But somehow they convinced me to join the piccolo section for the spring and like the basketball band. And, you know, I think one thing that's really unique about Georgia Tech organizations is that you can have zero experience going into something, and you can just, you know, learn as you go. And like, I had never touched a piccolo. I went to a basketball game, sat there, learned how to play piccolo, you know, and I was terrible, but it was okay because everyone is just like, you know, really hype and really welcoming. And it's just like a really positive environment that you can get at Georgia Tech. And one thing I kind of wanted to say differently is, and a piece of advice that I got as a first year that I really valued, whenever trying to decide like what organizations to get really involved in, it can definitely be so overwhelming just because there are like, you know, hundreds of organizations. But someone told me that they kind of chose one social organization and then a professional organization just to like devote a lot of their time to. And that was something that I like really valued, and I've kind of taken that. So band has kind of been like my fun social, and then things like SWE and Ryze are kind of my more professional or gender equity related organizations. So maybe that'll help you as you know, try to decide what to get involved with. But that was something that helped me for sure.
I really love what you said. Sorry, Rebecca. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I just wanted to point on one thing Celia said, just because I know that oftentimes high achievement in perfectionism is really important at Georgia Tech. A lot of people internalize it, and for better or for worse, right? But Celia, you talked about taking risks and giving yourself space to try something new and not be amazing at it immediately. And I think that that's so important and something that we should normalize here. Let's normalize it. Okay, Rebecca, I'm so sorry.
No, you're good. You're good. Yeah, I was gonna hop off what Celia said too, because it made me think of something that when I was looking at orgs to get involved in, although I was looking for certain things for leadership positions or because I was truly passionate about them, I also knew a handful of my communities I identified with going in. And even though I'm not necessarily in those orgs dramatically, I'll still like go to certain meetings, go to things that interest me, pop in and out. So for example, like I'm Puerto Rican by heritage, so I go to the Caribbean Student Association meetings once in a while, like technically not even a member, but I'll just pop in once in a while, go to certain events, go to brunch with them, and it's a good community that I already knew I had, and so it kind of keeps me grounded in another level. So if you're already related to something or find something you like, you don't necessarily have to go full on and make every single meeting and be all into it, but you can kind of just pop in and use it as a comfort zone.
That's so smart. I think that's so wise. Like, you don't have to lead everything. You can just be a general member, or not even a member, just kind of be the person that shows up for the programs they put on, or shows up for the dinners they host. Be a kind of a quiet, passive supporter, but still gain so much. Yes, Michaela, exist. But still gain so much from that. I think that's such a wise and insightful thing to say. Thank you, Rebecca.
So I'm going to skip forward because I feel like you all mentioned a lot of organizations that impacted you. So I want us to talk a little bit about challenges because I think that everybody that is in this panel and in the chat will experience a challenge at some point at Tech. So even if it wasn't in your first year, what challenges maybe happened that either you weren't expecting or maybe you did see coming, and how did you overcome them? How did you persist?
I'll jump. Oh, Rebecca, go first.
No, oh, okay, sorry. She's like my auntie, so my heart. But I would say one of my biggest challenges wasn't even school related. It was somewhere in the school year where I had a lot of family stuff going on. And it was freshman year, so I wasn't necessarily like, let me tell all these people I just met a month ago about everything going on with my family right now. But I will say it was kind of an exercise in trust because I ended up feeling certain people out and opening up to them, which was a little difficult to do because I don't kind of a closed book. But it was helpful in the long run to kind of like put that trust in these new friends that I had. And definitely counseling, therapy, talk therapy is what I did a lot of because it just helped me through it. It's hard enough to balance personal life and then tech is tech and trying to do all that. So it was good to have somebody to talk to about everything else going on and then free up space to focus on school. So yeah, just talking to people, being open, honest, and pushing myself to be a little more vulnerable than I was in high school, I would say.
So for you, even though you were going through something that required a tremendous amount of vulnerability, you stepped out to take risks to find support. And also, like, thank you for plugging like mental health counseling. Pay attention to it. Do it early. Even if you don't have major things going on for you, like having someone who is there specifically to focus on you and your needs and your development, do it. Absolutely. Thank you so much, Rebecca. Anybody else?
Yeah, Rebecca, you I'm gonna build off you because literally my first year was on more of social and mental health, and that was posing of a struggle for me as well. So definitely also had to be vulnerable at a very young time when I literally barely knew people's names. But it also helped me weigh out like who are my real friends and who aren't. Also, sorry, I thought the chat was relevant. So yeah, that's my social. my social part was like finding friends, and that was a struggle for me. Because I am, it took me a while. I'm a very introverted person. I'm an extroverted introvert. So while I love being around people, I also get exhausted being around people. So it took me a little bit longer to find those communities like that, to confine into. And it was a mixture of like family, friend, and academics. Also getting up to the pace of Georgia Tech, was very, very daunting for me. Which a lot of other students kind of resonate with, and that's generally in discussion. And so I really want to repeat what Rebecca said on that vulnerability of like, hey, I don't know what I'm doing. I don't even understand what we read yesterday. I don't know what's going on at Tech. Someone will point you in the right direction. And that's what someone did for me, which also improved my mental health. So someone scooped me up. I think it was like a third-year student at the time. It was like, hey, young child, I'll show you the way, and actually pointed me toward a resource called OMID, which I'll plug real quick. So the Office of Minority Educational Development, beautiful office, and it focuses on helping, you succeed academically, but also they counsel, and they're just, I don't know, it's just a beautiful community. I can go on and on about that, but that really helped lift me up. And another thing I would say is starting my foundation academically seriously. I think academic coaching and plus sessions, like if I had done that earlier, would have been beautiful. So I always tell first years to do it as early as possible. Even if you think you understand what you're learning in class, go anyway. Because that was me. Once I started learning, I got cocky and a little prideful, and I was like, oh, I got this. I don't need to go anywhere else. I can learn by myself. And then another class happened. So don't be like me. Please take advantage of the academic resources we have at Tech, because they are beautiful, actually.
Yes, I love that you talked about like trusting and finding your elders. I'm going to call third years and above elders, but like for real, like the people who are going to, you put yourself in places and spaces where those people are, who can connect with your passions or find those support systems for you because they've already been through it, which is why this space is so great, right? Like y'all are our elders, right, for this space. Great. Thank you so much, Michaela. Does anybody else want to jump in on challenges and overcoming them?
At the risk of sounding like a broken record, I'll chime in and build off of what Rebecca and Michaela have said. And I'll take the time to say that challenges aren't just in the past for all of us, even though we're in great leadership positions. I'll say that even right now, as president, like obviously it's a very stressful job, and still struggling with the mentality of perfectionism at Georgia Tech. And that's something that as a culture gets a lot of attention and we need to break. And I just want everyone who's new to Georgia Tech and listening, no one is perfect. You will be amazed by how smart and accomplished the ones around you are, but no one is perfect, and do not fall into comparing yourself. And so that's something that I've even been struggling with the last few months stepping into this role. And how do I take care of myself while still balancing involvements in leadership positions and classes? I think that's always something that we come across at Georgia Tech, of it's almost a competition of who's busier, who didn't get enough sleep. And yeah, getting a lot of head nods of that. You'll jump into a conversation like, I'm so tired. And then your friend will be like, I only got 4 hours of sleep. And then you're like, I only got 3 hours of sleep. And not to freak you out that you're not going to get a lot of sleep, but like things happen and tests happen and projects happen. And it is a hard and challenging school. And so I've really been going through, and especially this last week and a half, of what makes me happy and how do I prioritize that into my schedule? What is good for me and my mental health and well-being? I'll be super honest in that I finished a yoga class right before, like I did it in the room, like it was online, but like finished a yoga class right here, literally right before this started, and still in my gym shorts. And so that's one way that I'm prioritizing me time and my mental health and well-being. And that's a challenge that isn't just here for a little bit and then you accomplish it and it's gone. I think that's something that everyone has to be mindful of every day that they're at Georgia Tech, because there's just, college is amazing. It'll be the best 4, 5, 6 years in some cases at Mykala of your life. But it can also just throw a lot at you because you're an adult for the first time and figuring out how to do things. And so prioritize what makes you happy, I think, is always a challenge, but has really great rewards, and you can then fold it into what you're doing and the involvements on campus.
Yeah, I really love that hopeful message, and also the like centering of it is not selfish to center the things that make you happy and create boundaries around that. So thank you so much. So I'm doing a time check at 7:39. Does anybody else want to weigh on this one? And Melanie, what do you think? One more question, or should we jump to the chat?
So let's ask one more question. I just also want to reflect back on something that Brielle just said that I thought was really powerful, which is that like people are holding a lot of truths, and just because they're in esteemed leadership positions, or it looks like they're making A's, or they're getting lots of acknowledgement, doesn't mean that they're not carrying other things. And so that trap of comparing yourself that I think a lot of us often fall into, I fall into it. I know a lot of people that do. I meet with a lot of students who do. It's just recognizing that like you are on the right path for you, and it's okay to kind of take a beat and take a knee and say like I need to press pause for a minute if something and recenter myself. I just think the message of caring for yourself being a core responsibility of your time here at the Institute is really, really important. So think about all the ways you can get engaged, but also think about all the ways that you can engage internally with yourself and take care of yourself, and what really feeds your spirit, gives you energy and brings you joy. I think those are such strong messages that I've heard from all of y'all tonight in the different kind of ways you've talked about your engagement. Oh gosh, I don't know what. So I have all these questions that we didn't prepare. And I'm interested, I guess. I'm going to ask this question. If y'all don't want to answer it, you don't have to, and then we can go back to one of the questions we asked you to prepare. But I'm wondering, as y'all are talking to these first year women who many of them are away from home for the first time, some of them may be very far away from home, or maybe preparing to come away from home, if they're staying at home this semester and then thinking about coming on campus next semester, what has felt like home for you at Georgia Tech? Where have you found home at Georgia Tech? And did you find it right away, or did it take some time?
I'd like to go.
Something to add, or just, oh, sorry, Hannah.
Sorry.
You can go first.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I just wanted to say I'm also an out-of-state student, so I definitely feel your pain. I'm from Washington State, so across the country, the furthest point, basically. And I'll definitely say it was really hard. I've been close with my family ever since I was young, and my parents are almost like my best friends, so it is really hard being away from them. So I guess I was lucky enough where when I joined my freshman housing area, which you guys may be able to join in the spring, we had like floor activities, and I was really close with my roommate. So in that way, we kind of developed our own little family here, and we ended up being roommates with 2 other people from our floor for the rest of our college experience. Now, I know that's very rare, so I guess, of course, another way is to reach out and join student orgs. Obviously, for me, SWE has been my family, and as an introverted person, that didn't start out right away. I first had to get involved and step outside of my comfort zone. But I think finding those organizations that also have mentoring programs that specifically help you find someone who's older and can give you more advice is really helpful. And in general, just finding people that you are eventually comfortable enough to open up to and share your struggles with is really helpful, and feeling like you're not alone even when you're away from family.
That's really good advice. I think it's taking the time to find your people. And for some of us, those people are the first people we meet on campus. And for some of us, they're not the people we meet until later on. But taking that time to invest in those relationships and recognizing your own kind of process, right? Like as an introvert, it's hard to open up sometimes, or it's hard to, put yourself out there to meet new folks. And so that's really good advice. Celia, did you want to weigh in?
Yeah, I was just gonna say this was actually one of the things that I also struggled with. I'm very like 50-50. Sometimes I can be very introverted. Anytime I take one of those tests, depending on my mood, sometimes I get introvert, sometimes I get extrovert. And I, like my roommate in college, my freshman year, was from my high school. My sister was actually still in college at Georgia Tech when I started, and I had some mutual friends that I kind of just found my bubble with, but that also kind of gave me a crutch. And then when my roommate made other friends, and then when my sister graduated in December, I always kind of felt like I didn't have that community. And I was like, as a freshman, I guess I was just under this false impression that whenever I joined a student organization, it meant automatic friends. Like I joined SWE, but I was also like very shy. And so I didn't really put myself out there. I would sit in the back, eat my own food and, just do my own thing. But one of the things that I like about like flows, I didn't do a flow as a first year, but I really wish I had, just because they're smaller groups. And so I feel like in like that smaller group setting, you really can interact more. And then also within flows, you get like even smaller groups, you'll be with like 4 or 5 other students, and you really just get the opportunity to find your community. And so, yeah, that was one of my challenges, but I definitely, ended up growing after that. I just had to push myself out of my boundaries. And, you kind of just have to like ask people. Don't be afraid to start those conversations, because, other people are probably in the same exact position as you. Yeah.
All right, cool. So to keep time short, because I know time is of the essence here. So I was ready to leave my house. I don't know about anyone else. But so coming to Georgia Tech was like a blessing. Plus it's in Atlanta. And that was a time when I was like questioning my sexual identity. So I was very excited for coming to Atlanta because it's definitely less conservative than Arkansas. So when I came to Tech, I eventually found the LGBTQIA Resource Center, which became my home, and also the Women's Resource Center. That's why I love them so much. Definitely my home. I've definitely taken many naps, did many yoga poses on mats, hung out there, ate there, everything. Same as for the LGBTQIA Resource Center. And then from there, I would say art matters. Like I said, like finding that art community, they showed me the Atlanta community of arts, and that helped me expand to like find different communities outside of Georgia Tech, which I think is also very important, because I felt myself getting trapped in this Georgia Tech bubble, is what we kind of call it. And so they encouraged me to step out, and so I found people from Georgia State and UGA and Emory, and going to different seminars there, which was really cool. And I had a unit to go with, so that's always comforting because it's hard to do those things alone, especially coming to a whole different city, in a whole different state. And I'll plug one more. I was an RA as well, so my housing family, we got really close because we have to work with each other every single day throughout the day. So that became my family in a way, as well. And I did that for 3 years, and so we became close in the housing staff, and the other RAs and PLs. We still talk and everything. So those were my go-tos. I started in my second year as context for my first year, so you can start next year if you're interested in becoming an RA or a PL. And the PLs for first years, RAs for upperclassmen. Just have to define some terms because I know I get used to just throwing them around. If you have any questions, let me know in the chat.
Michaela, honestly, when you were talking about housing, I thought you were going to say your biggest challenge was that time with the flood and the... I won't bring you back there, but that's immediately where my brain went.
Can I ask something like super quick? So I would say I definitely found like administrative faculty and staff people on campus who kind of reminded me of aunties and moms and would like check me if I needed it because I need that. So like definitely I come to the Women's Resource Center, I talk and I get checked if I need it, and I get support when I need it. Dr. Atwater's at OMED, she keeps me in line as well. And they're like very supportive about it. So it's kind of like that's the piece of home that sometimes I felt like my friends or like the orgs couldn't provide. It's like I needed that adult perspective, for lack of a better word. So I would just go to those resource centers and like talk to people and become really close with faculty and staff.
I said the exact same thing in the chat, Rebecca, as right before you started talking. So definitely second that one.
Thank y'all so much. I think we had maybe a couple questions. Y'all have done such a wonderful job of dropping.
You.
Thank you for like moderating the chat panel. Y'all are rad. Amazing.
Yeah, I feel like there are very few that weren't answered.
Yeah, I think maybe I gotta scroll like all the way back.
I know. The first one we got was for Brielle specifically. Could you give us a quick summary about how you became undergrad president and why?
That's a great question. It's crazy right now, so I'm still asking myself why I signed up for this voluntarily. No, I love it, and I get to work with Michaela all the time, so it's even better. But I think for me, as I said earlier, I joined SGA on a whim, really not looking to get much out of it, and found out that I love the people. I found out that the work that I was able to do was really cool, found out new passions that I was interested in, and that's why I stuck with the org. And I would say, you know, we're kind of saying bounce around, have fun, and that's so true. But also, if you find something that you're passionate about, stick with it and don't overcommit, and really put your time and effort behind that if you truly love it. And so that's what I did and stuck with it now all 4 years, and just every year got a leadership position, the next level up, and that was my focus. So that's how I ended up in the position where I could run for president. Really, the reason why I did it was I was just super encouraged by my friends around me. I was super hesitant to run, and I think it's the most scary thing I've ever done, but was really encouraged by the family that I had made at Tech. So that's a short answer, but I think that sums up pretty well my response.
And Brielle, your first year, were you in Fresh GA, the flow, or through another?
I was not. I did not know Fresh GA existed my first year. And now looking back, I really wish that I'd been a part of the flow because they seem amazing.
I promise this isn't just a presentation for flows, but if you want to, there's one on August 20th. So, Melanie, was there another question that you had found in the chat? Because if not, I have one that was emailed in.
No, I think we answered them. There were some questions about how to join different student orgs. Danny dropped that information into the chat there for folks, as well as if you go to engage.gatech.edu, every student org has a different way to join. Some of them are just like come to an interest meeting. Some of them are, you know, come to a general body meeting. Some of them have more formalized processes, but definitely check them out on Instagram. See you plug in your people, Michaela. You know, I think there's lots of different ways. With SGA, you can be a representative from your school, or you might join not as a representative, but as somebody who is a part of one of the committees that SGA has and you can go on their website and see all the different committees and different ways to kind of get engaged there. So there are a lot of different ways to kind of plug in. So if you miss an opportunity, don't get too disheartened. There are lots of other opportunities. And if you're having trouble finding your place or finding your way, feel free to reach out to me and Danny. We'd be happy to talk with you. We really it was so nice what Rebecca said and what Michaela said about the Women's Center. But it just means so much to us when students reach out and ask for support, because that's really what we're here for and really what we want to do, especially the women at Georgia Tech. Y'all are our hearts. So yeah, Danny, I'll turn it over to you for that last question.
Yeah, so we had someone email in who couldn't make it. This is a question specifically for you, Celia. Is there anything particular that Ryze is looking for in its members, and what should they focus on in the application and interview?
Yeah, that's a really good question, and we actually just kind of have started to figure this out for ourselves, but we're really just looking for people that are, passionate about gender equity issues, you know, really like creative on ways that they can get involved and try to like fix these issues around Georgia Tech and in the Atlanta community. And we're also just looking for people who have good communication skills, any good like teamwork, and yeah, we just want a really good person.
Yeah, and I'd also say, like, you know, if there are, you know, in your application, in your interview, if there are areas of growth specifically that you want to focus on and can talk about the ways that you see Ryze doing that, you don't have to be like 10 out of 10 at the top of your development, you know, at 18, 19 years old. Like, that's not what this is about. This is about finding that network of support that can help to grow you. So, so we're at 7:54. Yeah, go ahead. Nope, do it.
I was gonna add one more thing. Like I feel like Ryze is just something that we're all kind of grow together. So really just having that like attitude going into the interview and application.
Yeah, one of the great things about kind of being in the inaugural group is that you get to create that together. Yeah, thank you for saying that. So yeah, go ahead.
Ellen, do you want to plug real quick SWE's Tea with the Dean, just so folks know what that is and can tune in for that if they want?
Sure. Actually, Celia is the one who is organizing this, but I can give a quick overview. Tea with the Dean is basically our annual welcoming event for all first year and undergrad and grad students. So we basically have, in person, we would have had a tea where we'd have like food and drinks and basically time for students who are first year's female engineering students come network with each other, with faculty, with the dean. And last year, actually, President Cabrera came and spoke as well, which was a surprise. But basically, it's a great way to get to know people who will probably be in your classes in the next couple of weeks, you know, and get to know a little bit more about SWE as well. And we have first year membership paid free for SWE. So if you come, you'll get a goodie bag and free membership, which is great.
Thank you so much. Yeah, and they'll get an email about it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You'll get an email invite.
Yeah, stay tuned. I can't say enough great things about SWE. I think that it is a really good networking and also just academic support as kind of an underlying benefit, that you meet other folks that you can study with and that you can, you know, get intel about your faculty and be like, is this a professor I want to take or not? In a really safe way. So definitely. And I have to tell you that when they are meeting in person, they have the best food. They meet in our building down the hall and it always smells so good and looks so tasty. So lots of benefits to joining SWE and actually any of these orgs. Danny has dropped in to the kind of a couple of chats up. Our panelist contact information. If you registered via Engage, we'll also send this out to you so that you can get this information as well. We're super excited and want to just thank all of our panelists tonight. They did this out of the goodness of their hearts and have just been like a delight to be with and have made me feel super energized for the semester, and I hope have made all of y'all feel excited and energized to be a part of the Yellow Jacket family and to join this group of really rad and tenacious women who have so much to offer and who are really going to change our world. So thank y'all and welcome to Georgia Tech. And Danny and I hope to see you in and around the Women's Center and in our programs over the course of the next 4, 5, or for some of you, maybe 6 years. No shame. Just means you really like it here. Thanks, y'all.